If you want to get noticed, well, drive a car that makes a statement. One of the coolest features of many muscle cars is a big honkin' air scoop sticking up through the hood. And today we're taking a look at some of the more memorable fresh air intake systems factory installed on muscle cars. Of course, engines need air to breathe, and they also like a lot of fuel, and hot intake air is less dense than cold air, which means it will hold less fuel. So cooler air can hold more fuel vapor, which in turn makes more power in an internal combustion engine. And this is one of the main benefits of having an air scoop sucking in air from a cooler outside source as opposed to the hot air you find under the hood. Now, another reason for the hood scoop was the idea of the ram air intake. And the concept of ram air is pretty solid. The idea is that as you drive down the road and go fast, air is forced into that scoop and down through the carburetor and into the engine. The reality is you got to be going really, really fast to get any measurable ram air effect. So consider this, as the engine is spinning at high RPM, of course you've got your pistons kind of pulling the air in like a syringe through the carburetor and the cylinder heads on their own. And those intake velocities from the pistons by themselves can reach several hundred miles an hour of airspeed inside that engine. So in order to force more air in, you'd have to be driving several hundred miles an hour. And some of these muscle cars are fast, but they're not that fast. But that didn't stop the car makers from calling these ram air systems, primarily because these cool names also helped sell cars. Sure, air scoops help performance, but they also look really cool. And here's a quick look at some of the coolest factory-installed muscle car scoops ever offered. The first car on our list is the 1969.5 Plymouth Roadrunner with the 440 6-barrel 812 package and the factory-installed fiberglass hood. This hood had no hinges, so it required 2 people to remove, but the huge open snorkel hood scoop pulled in tons of fresh air to the 3 hungry carburetors sitting below. Imagine trying to sell a car today that required 2 people to open the hood. You can find that in episode number 152 of Muscle Car of the Week. Next up is the 1967 Corvette Roadster we featured in episode 28. There were only 20 1967 Corvettes produced with the high-strung code L88 427 V8, and the hoods on these cars were a bit deceptive. It looks like a forward-facing hood scoop, but the opening actually points to the base of the windshield in an attempt to suck in the clean, still air at this low-pressure region at the base of the glass. These made over 500 horsepower and needed all the air they could get. Next up is one of the all-time favorite hood scoops, the Plymouth Shaker. This scoop mounted directly to the engine and moved at idle and when you floored the engine, hence the Shaker nickname. This one is sitting on a 426 Hemi, but they were available on 440 and 383 powered cars as well. We think it's one of the meanest looking scoops ever made, and you can see more of this car in our episode number 169. Ford also played in the Shaker scoop game, and this time it's on the 1970 Boss 302 Mustang from episode number 84. The Ford Shaker stands tall on top of a full-size air filter housing with a racy-looking black cast aluminum housing topped with fins and wrinkle black paint. These also came on a variety of engines, ranging from the 302 seen here up to 351s, 390s, and 428s. Ford called it the ram air setup, and it was a functional option that also looked great. Speaking of ram air, Pontiac engines wore the name ram air on a variety of cars. This 1969 Pontiac Trans Am features the Ram Air 4 400 engine, making 370 horsepower, and it inhales through the 2 forward-facing scoops seen in this original steel Ram Air hood. These hoods feature scoop inserts that feed the 4-barrel carburetor with the goal to stack pressurized air into the engine at high speed. Did it work? I don't know, but it sure looks cool. See more of this Trans Am in episode number 106. The last scoop on our list has a ton of things going for it. It's the air grabber found on the 1971 Plymouth Roadrunner, feeding a 426 Hemi V8. This one comes to life with a cable-operated system letting people know the driver was ready to rock. Bomber-style graphics on the side warned the world that there was a hungry V8 under the hood, and it went back to flat and boring right after the race. It's a rare treat to see an air grabber in action, and you can learn more about this car in episode of Muscle Car of the Week, number 63. We hope you enjoyed our look at some of the coolest fresh air scoops ever offered on muscle cars, and we leave you with a trivia question. So what was the first American car to have a forward-facing hood scoop? You can leave your guess in the comments, and we'll see you next time with a very cool car from the Brothers Collection on Muscle Car of the Week.